So I'm here with two of the main Queplix guys who are using a bunch of Google technology and doing some really innovative things in open source. So guys, could you introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'm Steve Yaskin. I run product development for Queplix.
My name is Paul Tenberg. I run business development for Queplix.
Great. So how has your background shaped the way Queplix works today?
We basically pretty much both came out of Drexel University. We graduated. I was in the physics doing some graduate work. Basically dropped out right before getting my thesis done, went into technology business and never regretted that.
Yeah, all the good guys, Bill Gates, you know, you're in good company.
Yeah, so I heard, yeah. And this is where I met Paul.
Yeah, I actually graduated. So I'm not sure that gives me any points. But I think combined we spent almost 20 years in CRM consulting background, so we know the industry, customer relationship management industry in and out.
Great. So why did you decide to create Queplix?
I think I can take that for sure. Basically, we've spent all this time working on other companies' products, and as much as we learned about the benefits of CRM, we've learned as much about the pain points. So we've seen the good with the bad, and we've done mostly large Fortune 500 companies implementation of CRM products, and I think we've used that combined knowledge that we obtained during all this time and all these implementations, some of them successful, some of them not so successful, to create a product that would address, from our point of view, all of the weaknesses that we think are present in today's CRM industry and the marketplace.
So what are some of those? What makes you guys different?
We think that the overall approach that's been used to CRM implementations, sort of like best of breed, one size fits all methodology, is generally, it was a good idea maybe 10 years ago. I think now it's a little outdated, and I think in order for a company to stay competitive and use that competitive advantage to compete, you cannot have a best of breed, same implementation across the board for all the competition, for all the competitive players. So you need to set yourself apart, you need to separate yourself.
So how did you do that?
In order to do that, you need a product that can accommodate your unique business rules and unique business strengths. And in order to do that, basically the product has to be flexible, customizable, configurable. And I think we bring that with the help of Google technology, we bring that to the marketplace.
And user-friendly is a very important part of the whole process. Adaptability, being easy enough to navigate, being user-adaptable, being user-friendly is what we call it, is basically what we after. It's pretty much CRM today is looked at as being a commodity. Using analogy with Google, search was a commodity before Google showed up in the basic scene, and Google changed the whole search industry and introduced new search concepts to the market that revolutionized, changed the whole industry. And we think that the CRM customer care in particular today is viewed as a commodity. Everybody reached kind of a plateau level, and best of breed is out there already, but there's a lot of failed implementations out there. For some estimates, it's about 75 to 80% of all CRM implementations fail, and there are various reasons, and we think our product addresses all of them and brings that level of confidence to the market that it's actually a brand new revolutionary product that's going to break that mold of CRM being a commodity and introduce a lot of new features.
So you guys decided to go open source with your solution. Why do you guys do that, and how has that affected your business?
One of the biggest problems that existed in CRM is their vendor lock-in. And in the course of the last 5 years, we have seen a lot of small companies being acquired, a lot of even bigger companies being consolidated into one large conglomerate of various softwares, and like Oracle went on shopping spree and basically combine the whole industry into one big, large application that we see a lot of support being limited. We see a lot of people suffering out there. There's a lot of confusion out there in general in the market. And we think it's going to continue, again, because it's a commodity today. You know, level of requirements reach the point where there needs to be a certain step up above the current plateau level of CWeb industry. And we think that vendor lock-in is one thing which we solve. We have a special tool which kind of crawls through your legacy application, no matter what it is, extracts all this logic from it, and helps to the open source environment, which is our product. Why it's open source? First of all, it eliminates user lock-in. Once you switch, you no longer have to drag all this legacy code with you. You don't have to pay excessive license fees. You don't have to ever think about what's going to happen to my vendor, what's going to happen to me 5 years down the road, and what if you know, Oracle buys my vendor, or what if I buy from Oracle and they introduce a new Confusion version, you know, a couple of years down the road, what's going to happen to my licenses, costs, and support? So going with open source, we think it's not only a technology breakthrough, but we think it's primarily business factor that a lot of CIOs should seriously start looking into. And open source industry is itself, open source notion have matured into enterprise standards today, and we believe Queplix certainly brings a lot of confidence to the CIOs of large Fortune 500 companies that not afraid to go into the open source using Queplix technology.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the crawler. As a developer, that seems like a magic device to be able to go in and like get your business logic, and suddenly it's all in this open source world. Yeah. So how does this stuff actually work?
Unfortunately, there's no magic here.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we wish, but no, there's no magic here. This is actually, the idea of crawler came out of, there are a few companies out there that do data integration, right? They go through legacy or any metadata, right? A lot of these applications are based on metadata, or at least you can abstract the metadata out of any legacy application, you know, where it stores its data and the metadata. And the notion of crawler came out of that data integration services. But we take it a step further. Just these companies just crawl the data, and they create some kind of UML diagram, or they transform your data in a more standard form, so you can export, import, transform the data, bring it into any other format. We take it an extra step here by producing an actual application out of the metadata. So we crawl, transform, load, and then generate an open source application using Google technology, using GWT widgets, using our GWT-based framework. So that's an additional step that Queplix created that takes it, you know, that last mile, and actually at the end spits out a ready-to-go deployable application that you can start using.
Is it the kind of application where, like, you have a base application, then you can go in and tweak it to
Correct.
You know, do that?
Yes,
okay.
Correct. Yes, so the whole migration consists of several steps, actually. The first step is we crawl through the metadata, bring it over, we extract, load, transform it, and put it into the new system, which takes very short period of time. So we eliminate data migration completely from legacy, which sometimes takes, you know, a very long time. And it's the most costly exercise, actually. We eliminate that part. We extract all the business rules, all the workflows, all the screen elements, drop-downs still remain drop-downs, text fields still remain text fields. What we don't do, we don't look at the code of the legacy. We basically don't care what it is. We don't even have access to it.
Yeah.
So we just take the metadata and we build our system using that metadata. And we can mimic the screens even, right? We create them using GWT widgets. We put those certain data elements that correspond to the metadata on the screen, so thus creating automatically ready-to-go application.
Great. So why did you choose GWT or GWT?
Good question. We considered a lot of similar frameworks that had been out for some period of time. The reason we went with GWT and believe me, we had a very long discussions about that, and we decided on GWT because at the time we thought it had the most promising level of what's the right word? Being an enterprise grade. We always go after the large enterprises. Being a small startup company, we're addressing the top segment of the market. So it's very hard for us to convince CTO of Hewlett Packard that Queplix, that little company, has the right technology that Fortune 500 company actually can build their entire customer care on. And we looked at various frameworks out there, and we thought GWT has achieved, or has a promise to achieve, the level of being an enterprise grade framework.
So after you made that choice, now you've actually built on top of it. What have been the interesting things that have come out of your work there?
Interesting things that we had to create a lot of functionality ourselves.
Yeah.
We understand that it's a product with a lot of GWT is a framework with a lot of promise. We were at version 2.5 when we decided to refactor entire application and put it on the GWT rails. And we had to jump through a lot of hoops. It took us about 6 to 7 months to bring the system, transform the system to the GWT platform.
Were you building your own widgets and things like that?
Exactly. We've created tons of widgets. We've created a lot of integration layers. And our previous version and the current version 3.0 are totally J2E based. So we based on very strict standards by Sun Microsystems, and we have to adhere to them, you know, with a great level of responsibility, because again, we deal with large companies, and their due diligence process includes a lot of checking on the compatibility, adherence to the J2E rules. So we had to integrate a lot of frameworks, like logging frameworks, you know, all kinds of protocols that come bundled with Java 2 Enterprise Edition, and make sure that GWT talks to those protocols and libraries very smoothly. And this is what we have today.
Great. So I noticed that you guys also have some Google gadgets and other integration points. Are there any further integration things that you're going to be doing?
I guess Steve should talk about his technology, but I think the most important undertaking that we have is integration with Google Search. We think that Steve has mentioned in the beginning that CRM today is a commodity, and we think integrating it with search and being able to consolidate corporate information into one presentation, unifying that portal where users access information, is going to take it out of the commodity and bring it into really value-added solution to the company. So take it to the next level of the technology S-curve.
Basically, what Google Search appliance, which we're integrating with the product right now, will give us is it will present dynamic contents. It's not going to be static contents on the screens predefined by developer forms or widgets on the screen that you use to communicate with the system. So there's data, and then there's interaction with the system. We're looking to change the middle ground here and make that interaction with the user and the data with users trying to search very extremely user-friendly. Basically what Google did with the search. To summarize the concept of this in a few words is that we will present the data and allow user to search the data in a very dynamic way, and not restrict the user to using the predefined screens, but make it an interaction. And by doing that, we're not only going to index the data, but we're also going to index the actions that user can do. This is what's missing today in the customer care and in the CRM applications, is that element of dynamics. Right, you search for something, it presents certain pieces of that data on one screen, you go to another screen, on third screen to get the whole picture. Just similar, like Google indexes billions of web pages out there and combines them and ranks them by relevance and brings them all in one simple screen, right, very user-friendly. This is what we are doing with the customer care, with the CRM applications. It's going to combine all the searches, bring them a very user-friendly way in one single, simple screen. But it's not only going to bring the data in, it's going to bring the actions that you can do with this data, right? So you type in the customer name, supposing the customer is calling you with a problem when they emailed you a certain question, you type in the customer name or it pops up automatically, and the system will present you dynamically ranked by relevance using the Google search appliance, all the actions that you can do with this information going forward. Again, in a very plain, user-friendly way. So
Great.
you're going to index data and actions.
Great. So you've said user-friendly a few times, and GWT is obviously very rich, AJAX-y. How have the users kind of liked that way of working with a web application?
Well, AJAX is a fairly new thing that came around a few years ago, and it's CRM, again, being a commodity, was a little bit slow adapting to this Web 2.0, as people call it, notions of adapting to the AJAX, adapting to kind of working in a desktop-based environment, being in a web-based application. It's catching up. Industry is catching up to that, but we believe they're doing it in the wrong way. They have this huge legacy applications that they're trying to inject now with the AJAX functionality. And while they're changing the presentation a little bit, the underlying rules prohibit huge legacy CRM companies to adapt to the new thinking and present the data in a dynamic way.
Great.
While they still keep the best of breed functionality, there's that element of dynamics that's missing from this whole thing. And we're certainly using AJAX to the full extent in GWT
Great.
to create that.
So, as you also mentioned earlier, you're going up against some pretty heavy hitters.
Yes.
And as other developers out there starting off with, small companies that they're little startups and maybe they're just hacking away at night or whatever, how do you actually market to these companies, especially the big companies? How do they find out about you?
Sure.
And how does that work?
Big companies, there's a difference between small companies looking for customer care applications and big companies. The difference is big companies already have something in place today.
Always.
The problem for them is a lot of these companies, the decisions to purchase have been made 10 years ago. And a lot of the companies that have been, a lot of the vendors that have been put in place by these companies 10 years ago have disappeared since then. Some of them went out of business, some of them got acquired. Even the market leaders, as we've seen with the Siebel acquisition, the PeopleSoft acquisition, have been acquired. Now, obviously, it's not officially has been considered a legacy application, but we're getting a lot of interest from users of Siebel's and PeopleSoft, being very nervous right now about what's going to come out down the road out of this Fusion project. So we give them a real alternative to either staying and taking the risk, running possibly an unsupported application, losing some of the customizations that they've done, or just going out there and acquiring another proprietary closed core application and facing possibly the same problem sometime down the road. We're really giving them an alternative, which it basically eliminates all these risks. There's no vendor lock-in. With using QCrawler, there's an easy transformation out of the closed core kind of older technology onto the GWT-based open source application, where they can just take it and implement all of the unique business rules that have been missing from some of these current implementations.
Great. So for developers out there that are interested in what you've been doing, maybe want to build their own pieces onto this or whatever, is there a place where they can go and kind of demo the functionality and such?
Sure. First of all, we host the code on code.google.com. You can search for Queplix. You'll find the entire repository, CVS repository of the code. We also maintain a forum. We call it the Q forum. You can access it from queplix.com/Qforum page, and there's a place where you can exchange ideas. You can upload your own gadgets, and we have several versions of the product. One is a pure open source, distributed under the QPL license, which is a modified Mozilla license. And there's an enterprise version which we sell actually to the large enterprises. We've used already a couple of gadgets created by various people out there from the community. We inserted them into the enterprise version, and definitely they're available in the open source version. So we promote this kind of sharing, and definitely we even pay some developers money in that case.
Oh, cool.
If we get excited about certain widgets, we'll buy it. We'll pay money to promote more development from these people. There's a great framework out there, GWT XT, that I wanted to mention, that we're looking very seriously into incorporating into our product. It's an open source collection of various widgets migrated from EXT. A lot of people know that development project, and we're very excited about working with something like that, introducing it to our Fortune 500 customers.
Great. So what are you excited about in the future? What would you like to leave us with?
Definitely the premise of enabling PageRank technology for business environment like that is definitely a way to go. We see a clear way how we can change the entire face of business applications in this case, and hopefully achieve the same results as Google achieved on the search on the web. We're hoping to achieve same kind of results, bringing that PageRank technology to the enterprise.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to come into the Googly offices here in New York.
Enjoyed being
We
here.
enjoyed it.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're going to show a quick look at Queweb. So we're going to go to the demo app and log in as demo. It's now going to load the GWT application. And then we're going to kind of play around with the customer care system. So here we can see kind of the different views. We've got administration, management, service, knowledge base. We can go through and play around with this left-hand side tree view to look at different things. So if we go through here, click on administration, we've got employee, security, email queues and such. Go ahead and do a blanket search. Find these employees, click on the relevant person. We can go ahead and export to good old Word side of things. We've got different sets within here. You can use the cursor to move around and load different things. As it loads things over here, you'll notice that it starts flipping around. Click on another couple of tabs. You can find out about particular security, so it's jumping to the correct tree. And all in all, it just kind of looks like a typical database application where you can go through and create new items, create new tickets, and save it in the CRUD app.